before we can get into actually making and releasing a song, we need to understand that there are different stages to the record making process. As musicians and artists, we tend to, think about writing a song and getting it out to our fans or getting it out to our listeners. But there's actually a bunch of different stages that can use different personnel, different equipment, and even different mindsets. So the first stage of the record making process that we're going to discuss is going to be the writing and the pre-production. In the writing pre-production stage, what we're going to be able to do is take this song from an idea in our heads and start to get it out into the world. We don't need to have necessarily everything written perfectly as a final product, but what you want to do is try to get the lyrics written down, the song arranged, and have a good idea of instrumentation and who's going to actually be playing these different songs. Sometimes when we have bands recording, we might even have band members who are really good live players that aren't necessarily the best in the studio, or vice versa. So you want to start thinking about the people that are going to be in the studio when we're creating that song and try to get ready for the studio time and diving in and actually getting recording. So the pre-production writing stage is going to be creating the song and preparing for your session. Next, we're going to get into the production or the recording of the session. Depending on how your song-making process is, we kind of think of this two different ways. And it could be one way, the other way, or both. In a situation where we have a live band, we're thinking of it more as a recording. In a situation where we're creating the song through programming in the box, we think of it as production. But a lot of modern productions and a lot of modern songs actually have these two processes melded together. So you have the song written, you have the people ready, you have your studio time booked. In this stage, we're actually going to set up our studio, we're going to do our recording, we're going to get our programming done within our DAW, and we're going to get the whole song laid out and done. The main focus from an artist perspective is to get the best performance and the best takes of our song that we possibly can. When you're thinking from the engineer perspective, you want to make sure that you're getting the highest quality recordings you can. Now, the important thing to remember is that it's always most important to get the best performance. Then we're going to worry about the best recordings. A good performance will outweigh a good quality recording any day of the week. Up next is going to be the mixing process. Now, when we get into mixing, this is going to be a little bit less creative. The song should already be written and recorded, and most of the audio content that we're going to be using in our song is going to be there for us. The mixing process is going to be the process of editing our audio files to make sure we have the parts that we want, that we get rid of the parts that we don't want, and we're going to clean up each of our individual tracks to blend them all together into a full song. This is where it goes from being a bunch of individual audio files into a stereo audio song. So the last part of the record making process is going to be the mastering and the distribution. The mastering is typically going to be done by a mastering engineer, or you could do it yourself if you have that knowledge set. What we're going to be doing in mastering is taking that mixed song, the stereo file that we have, the audio file, and we're going to take that and we're going to make it sonically competitive with all our other songs in that genre. We're going to add some volume, we're going to add some sparkle, and get that sounding good. This is going to be the part that takes it from sounding like something I'm working on into a final product. Aside from the audio aspects of this mastering process, we're also going to do some logistical stuff like get the files ready for distribution. We'll print some MP3s, we'll print waveforms. Sometimes we have to print different versions of the song, whether it be an instrumental or a vocal mix. And we'll get those ready to be pushed out in the right formats on all platforms. So now that we have a good idea of the record making process and the different stages, what we're going to do is take a look at some of the gear that we're going to be seeing in the studio.